story last time. What?
I just said lesson 4.
I was just reading the easy way out.
We're on lesson 4?
No, you asked where were we last time?
Yeah, we're on lesson 4. Now we're on lesson 5, right? Yeah, okay. But she told him you remember he ate from the apple, he fell asleep until he woke up. She came to him, oh, now it's going to be so much harder for you to get me out. She says, but I understand it's like hard not to eat on the last day. But this time you're going to again do the same thing, yearn for me. And but this time the next instruction is, I know it's hard not to eat on the last day. So just like, don't drink wine, no wine. But the main thing is not to sleep. Okay, and that's where we ended up the story. Now, like, he's going on a whole yearning trip with himself again, trying to recoup from the fall of eating from the apple, and how we spoke about that the apple was coming in touch with how complex his personality is, and he's coming in touch with and it's not so easy to find the lost princess, which is none other than the Shekhinah Kedusha, the Nitzotza Kedusha, the Neshama within. It's not without self-discovery, and so to find the lost princess is at the same time discovering all the layers of ourselves that there is to discover about ourselves, and it's part of the journey. And we can feel crummy about it and how much we mess up along the way. But if it's part of Rabbi Nachman's story, it means it's part of the journey called Welcome to My Life. Everybody, everybody's life. And every time he messes up, the task, the goal of finding the lost princess and getting her out she gets recessed into a more deeper place that he then has to go and find. Okay. And Kabbalistically speaking, what that means is that the lost princess, which is the Shekhinah Kedusha, which is our lofty soul, is in upper realms. And every time we mess up, we bring the Shekhinah into a greater place of galus. We throw the Shekhinah into a greater galus, which means descending into a lower world. So from Bria to Yetzira, then to Asiya is like the lowest place. And the deeper she is within galus, that means that when we discover her, we're going to discover her also in a deeper place within us. And a deeper place within us is none other than going through all the layers of, let's call it, shame and pain and loss of connection with our own heart. But it's part of the story, because that's where we have to reveal Hashem in the lowest places, right? Hashem has to be, the Geula comes when there's no place that his light is not revealed. So if that's the case, then we have to reach the lowest places of where his light is not revealed, and we have to find ourselves there in order to then discover him there, and then his light is revealed over there.
So let's say if you're thinking about in Mitzrayim, we went down to the 49th level. Had we gone one more down, we would have been
Lost.
Yeah. Okay.
So how was that connected?
It's connected.
All the same.
So it's connected. It's connected. We had to go down to the deepest depths of Tuma
To be
in order to be brought up. Yeah.
Okay.
And then to find the 50th level at Har Sinai, right? And Matan Torah. I want to try something. Just want to try. I think, but I need both boxes. I need to be out. But now, like, never, you're not going to be able to.
The water.
Maybe the water.
The water is better.
No, it's okay like this, unless you want cookie. which is okay. I can just remove the.
Right? It's fair.
The water stay more stable.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shakol nהיה b'dvaro.
Amen.
Okay, so with that a bit of introduction, let's go back to the story. So he wakes up from this whole apple thing, and he says, "Where am I in the world? Remember?" And his servant tells him, "Well, you know, you lost it. The princess was here." And she said, "Now it's going to be so much harder for you to find me." But she understands that it's hard. And the instruction is like, not to, at this time, on the last day, don't drink wine because it's too hard not to eat. We're going to discuss what the difference between not eating and not drinking wine is. But first, let's go to the story, okay? You're with me? So I'm going to read it in Hebrew first. ביום האחרון היה הולך לשם וראה מעיין הולך והמראה אדום והריח של יין ושאל את המשרת, הראית שזה מעיין וראוי שיהיה בו מים והמראה אדמומית והריח של יין והלך וטעה מהמעיין ונפל וישן מיד כמה שנים עד 70 שנה והיו הולכים חילות רבות עם השייך להם, מה שנוסע אחריהם. והמשרת התמין עצמו מחמת החילות. אחר כך הלכה מרכבה ועגלות צב, ושם ישבה הבת מלך, ועמדה שם אצלו וירדה וישבה אצלו והכירה אותו, והייתה מנערת אותו מאוד ולא ננער. You can't hear, Miriam? You can't hear, I'm talking to the Zoom. Oh man. Can you hear me now? Okay. I can hear, maybe check your volume, can't hear you. But now you can hear me, yeah? Hold on. I don't know what happened to you. Miriam, I saw you and now I don't see you. Okay. Oh, there I see you now. Okay. Okay. והתחילה לקבל עליו אשר כמה וכמה יגיעות וטרחות גדולות מאוד שהיו לו זה כמה וכמה שנים כדי להוציא אותי, ובשביל אותו היום שהיה יכול להוציאני ועבדו. והייתה בוכה מאוד על זה, כי יש רחמנות גדול עליו ועליי, שכל כך זמן שאני כאן ואיני יכול לצאת, אחר כך לקחה פת שיילה, מטפחת, like a pashmina, I guess, I don't know, פת שיילה, מעל ראשה וכתבה עליו בדמעות שלה, והניחה אצלו ועמדה וישבה במרכבתה ונסעה משם. It's so touching, really, seriously. On the last day, remember what we said the last day is, it's always the last day.
It's always the last day.
The last day is always the day that is the day that is the make it or break it. Like you're almost there and then you mess up.
So it's always the last.
Or it's like saying it like this. When you lose something, you always find it the last place you look for it.
No, I understand.
So that's what it is.
Very deep.
It's very deep.
True.
Yeah, it's always, so the last day is not the last day. It's like, that moment is always the last day of when you can actually do the transformation or fall and mess up again. Like
That's now. And now.
Right.
You know.
Okay. Yes. If you're working, if you're not sleeping.
Yeah.
If you're awake to it.
Okay.
On the last day, he was going there and he saw a running spring. Remember what she told him? Just don't drink wine. And it's very important not to fall asleep. Right? On the last day, he was going there and he saw a running spring and his color was red and the smell was of wine. He asked the servant, have you seen? This is a spring and there ought to be water in it, but its color is red and the smell is of wine. And he went and tasted from the spring. He immediately fell down and slept many years, until 70 years. There were many troops going along with their trains that followed behind them, and the servant hid himself because of the soldiers. After that went a carriage and covered wagons. The Hebrew is agalot tzav, merkava ve'agalot tzav. Carriage and covered with turtle shells. Agalot tzav. It's like turtle shells. So it's like you have the image of a turtle's house on his back. And there sat the king's daughter. She stood next to him, went down and sat next to him and recognized him. And she tried very much to wake him, but he could not be awoken. She started to lament over him, that so many great efforts and toils you tortuously made these many, many years in order to take me out. And for one day, when you could have taken me out, you completely lost. And she cried very much about this. She said, "It is a great pity on you and on me that I'm here such a long time and cannot go out." Afterwards, she took the scarf off her head and wrote on it with tears and laid it down next to him and stood up and sat in her carriage and rode away. Okay. So before I'll try to unpack with my help of my notes over here. What's going on here? What do you hear? What do you hear?
His whole life, he wasted 70 years.
70 years. So 70 years is code for what we learn in the spheres class. It's 7 times 10. It's falling from all the 7 midot, from those midot that we work on from between Pesach and Shavuos. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. So he fell from all of them, from all of the. So it's like a person can. So a person can lose it for 6 months, but in those 6 months he's lost it for 70 years. Because it's code for falling from all the levels that you could possibly fall on. It could literally be 70 years. Sometimes it's multiple 70 years because you have to come back as a Gilgul again and again and again, and you still haven't found it. You still haven't figured it out. So sad. It's like right? So that's the 7 years. You lost it. What else do you notice?
Yeah.
What's with the scarf? Okay, we're going to speak about what this is.
She wrote something on it?
She wrote something with her
With her
tears.
tears.
What does that mean? The tears. It's key. Because when he wakes up next week, he's going to find the scarf with the tears. And how do you read tears? You have to put up to the sun. And then it's like, he saw what she wrote there.
Like the indelible ink that you
Right. Okay, so what else? There was this running spring. Spring usually has water, but what's going on? It was red and it smelled like wine.
It's tempting him.
It's tempting him. It's tempting him, but something's weird. Like a spring should be made of water, and he smelt the wine and it looked like wine, and he said, "No, but it should be water." And he didn't go with what his gut was telling him. It's red and it's wine. And
He ignored his inner voice.
exactly. And he drank it and he fell. So what does that mean? That ignoring your inner voice of what's true. It's like going back to the gaslighting. There was a gaslighting here.
That is Yeshiva took over.
Yeah, that's simple. That's a too simple a way of saying it. It's deep.
I feel bad for him because a stream generally has water.
Has water.
Yeah, so, he's just testing to see.
That's right.
Dreaming.
But this is an allegory. So in our life, there's always streams that should be water. We call it people that should be nice to us or whatever. And we have a sense, and then but they smile at us and they have PhDs and they figure, okay, I'll go for it.
Like my therapist always says, if they're telling you who they are, believe them, with their behaviors or their actions or their don't think otherwise.
Yeah. Unless they're narcissists and they're manipulative and they lie. We have those.
Well, that's what she means. Believe what you're understanding
What-
from their behavior.
That's it.
what you mean.
That's
The
it.
deeper
That's it.
level.
Yes. Not what they're
Not,
speaking.
no, not
Yeah.
with words.
Yeah.
Not with words, yeah.
Right. And then he tasted it. So he didn't listen to his deeper inner voice. Okay. So let's let's unpack like this ourselves before we go into deeper what I prepared here. There are many troops going along with their trains and they follow behind them. A servant hid himself because of the soldiers. And then this carriage, where's the Bat Melech? Where's the Shekhinah now? Where's our soul? In a carriage. In turtle shells carriage. What does that mean? What does that mean that what's a carriage?
Usually a carriage takes the royalty, doesn't it?
It takes royalty. So she's a Bat Melech. She's riding around in a carriage. But a carriage also, it's not an open wagon.
No,
It's
encased.
protected. It's encased. It's a protection.
So now she's got a shell around her, makes it even harder.
Makes it harder, but what it says about the innermost point of Kedusha within us, that no matter how many times we mess up and fall asleep for 70 years, she's protected. It's not the Bat Melech, don't worry about her. Like you're not bringing damage to her, you're just making
Yeah,
It
it's
makes me
beautiful.
wanna
It's beautiful.
paint, like, draw up, like,
Beautiful.
there's imagery that comes.
yeah, of course,
Beautiful.
it's beautiful. And so she's protected. You're a mess up, but she's protected. And that's good to know. It's very important to know. She stood next to him, went down and sat next to him and recognized him. That's very important to know. That yeah. The neshama always knows who you are, no matter where you find yourself asleep for 70 years. In what kind of matzav, we still have to speak about what the wine is. She recognized him, and she tried very much to wake him up, but he could not be woken. But there's always a neshama there knocking, saying, "Yalla, wake up already. Wake up, wake up." Until he finally does wake up. But until he wakes up, he's asleep. She started to lament over him because she's in Gullus. She knows he's such a mess up for this guy, right? He's like, Rabbi Nachman's stories are his heroes are anti-heroes, are the furthest thing of what you would expect a hero to be. But that's what makes it so endearing at the same time.
Like Shalom Aleichem.
What? How? Shalom Aleichem. How?
His heroes are anti-heroes. It's Shlamazel.
Yeah, something like that.
Tevye.
Okay. Yeah. Right. And she tried very much to wake him, and he could not be woken. She started to lament over him that so many years, so many great efforts and toils, you tortuously made these many years in order to take me out. And for one day, when you could have taken me out, you completely lost. Ibadata, like you lost it. Heartbreaking words. And she cried very much about this, because the Shekhinah in Galus is B'tzah when we're in Sal. She understands our Sal more than we understand our Sal. Because when we fall asleep, it's not literally falling asleep, unconscious we're actually living, sleepwalking. And we're out of touch with what it means to really live. And we're tortured by all kinds of things that are so not the ikar of life. But that's the secret of Imo Anochi B'tzara. That Hashem is always in the tzara with the person. And so she feels it. She feels the pain. She's crying for herself because she just wants to shine her glory in the world. But she's also crying for him because what a pity on this life, right? And she cried very much about this. She said, "It's a great pity on you and on me that I am here such a long time and cannot go out." Afterwards, she took the scarf off her head and wrote on with her tears and laid it down next to him, and stood up and sat in her carriage and rode away.
You have to go back and talk about the soldiers.
Yeah, now we're gonna go Beseder. Okay, now that we familiar with this part of the story, let's just go according to my notes here, because okay. He starts from the beginning of the story. He's on a journey, and he starts off with a great big tmimus about him. He was very naive. She's lost. Nobody knows where she is. I'm gonna go find her. And he takes a horse and a servant and some money, and he goes and he finds her in this castle, and he goes all of that, and throughout this journey, he's discovering more and more about himself, and he's becoming less and less naive. Like, this is not such a simple task. I'm not gonna ride on my horse and find the princess and ride off into the sunset with her. It's not so simple. And he has a lot what to do to get to the princess. And it's a painful journey, because part of the coming in touch with the princess is coming into touch with the not so flattering aspects about ourselves, which are very necessary to come in touch with and contend with and understand and realize and own up to, and know how to navigate with them life, and not to be lost to them, not to cut them out, but know how to handle them in a matukan way. So the search of the lost princess is in a big way. It's also the road to really like self-discovery on all the multiple layers that we have. Okay. So previously, with the apple, that's coming in touch with desires. Like, what's your apple, right? What every person has their own thing that's where their desire is, that trips them up. It's the taiva, and it's very complex, and it's like discovering another layer of ourselves. Like, let's say we enter into a new relationship, so the relationship brings out what we're lacking. If we're fulfilled in that relationship or not fulfilled in that relationship, and if it does it for us or doesn't do it for us, we discover things about ourselves. We don't only discover why this relationship is not doing it for me because I'm not satisfied, but I'm discovering that I need this to be satisfied, and you're not doing it for me. You get what I'm saying?
Who's not doing it?
Anything that we come up with, light, we come across with light, external, helps us discover what we like and what we don't like. It's our engagement in the world with people.
It's helping us know ourselves and hopefully our soul needs.
Exactly. But our soul's needs is within a body, a reality of a Gashmias reality, that my soul has to find a place within my Gashmias.
It's impossible. But
It's not impossible. It's not impossible. It just takes a while.
Like it, because it's a paradox. Like
it's
everything,
because Judaism is not about becoming monks. It's not going on some Tibetan mountain and forgetting about the world. It's not about it. It's about knowing,
using everything we have.
You like really living life to its fullest in its Gashmias way, but doing it in a Mutukan way.
Elevating the Gashmias into the Ruchnias.
Oh, yeah, okay, basically, yeah, there you go. It's Chabad 101. There you go.
Yeah. Chabad.
It's Chassidus 101, Judaism 101. Yeah.
Judaism 101.
Yeah. And so it's but what happens is that we get so into the Gashmias that we forget that it's supposed to be done in a Ruchnias way, not to cut it out from our life.
The impossibility is that paradox again. It's like,
But it's possible. I protest. I don't agree.
Well, I hope so. I'm here because I believe it's possible, but I'm
Okay.
saying it appears to be almost an impossibility just because
It
we're
just,
so finite, and to keep our mind focused every moment.
you're such a ruchnius person. I can't believe you're saying this.
I'm going through yeah,
Oh
so-
man. Okay, fine.
What?
But I get it. I get it. It's totally possible. Just impossible for me the last month, but it's totally possible. I'll get back on track.
Okay. כי קרוב אליך הדבר מאוד, בפיך ובלבבך לעשותו. לא בשמיים. It's actually closer than you think. If you're saying it's hard and it's impossible, it means because it's so close to you that you can't see it. It's a slight switch. It is. That's what we did in Rav Kook this morning.
Yeah, I was thinking that's what we're studying. all
Yeah,
the time.
it's amazing
Yeah.
how the class is just
Hello?
yeah, it just comes up. So we every time we attempt it, we seem to be sinking into a further place away from us, and the Shekhinah goes into a greater galus. But all that means is that the trip, the journey gets deeper and deeper, like in terms of more meaningful, it becomes more meaningful. Because as the Shekhinah is going, as the Bat Melach is getting further and further, like away from, seemingly further and further away from us, what's happening is that I have to go to I fall into lower places that then from that place, I'm collecting sparks. Because when I wake up from this, I've collected sparks. The waking up means I've discovered that this is not my place. I've wasted my time, and I'm back on track on knowing what the focus is. Spoiler alert for next week, after this fall, he's determined and he doesn't fall asleep again. He's on the journey and the path, and it's not easy, but he's fully awake the whole time.
He must be elderly. He's fell asleep for 70 years.
Again, so 70 years is code. It's not, but yeah, Nikra Amkuta Shechina. This is Amkuta Shechina. It's like it's deep. It just becomes more deeper. Now let's talk about the wine. There's two types of wine that Chazal speak about. There's Yain HaMesameach and Yain HaMeshaker with a kaf, like shikor, shikr. But you could also say Yain HaMeshaker with a kuf because it lies. It's from a place of falsehood. So Yain HaMesameach, we have no problem with that. This is the Yain Mesameach Levav Enosh, you drink in order to, like the stuff of Purim. And the Torah that comes out on Purim from all that wine, if the person is pure on the inside, there's no greater Torah than that, and there's no greater Simcha than that. It's just so beautiful. I remember one time my son Levi, remember Levi? Miriam? I'm just Zoom line. So she's a fellow Montrealer. So he got drunk. Not that I
Encouraged him.
Not that I encourage him, and I didn't like this whole yeshiva the thing of getting drunk on whatever.
So scary.
But whatever, okay. No, but what came out of him was like the sweetest thing to discover. He was like falling over everybody, saying like he loves them. He was completely smashed, but he was everybody. I love you so much, his sister, and he was freaking everybody out. But it was like so sweet, so sweet, so sweet. That's Yain Mesameach. But then there's Yain HaMeshaker, that your approach to the Yain is not to bring out that, it's not from a Nevodas Hashem place, it's Purim. It's just like, I just want to numb myself. And this is a Yain Meshaker, like with a kuf, because it's falsehood. It makes you shikr and it makes you fall asleep. I heard Rav Yaakov Rashevsky speak about this, and he says, this is the secret. This yain is a secret of gaslighting. Why does he say it's a secret of gaslighting? Because you can sleep for 70 years and not know that you're asleep because you're drinking this wine. Now, this wine is not necessarily wine. It could be wine if you're into that, if that's your thing. But it could be anything that makes you feel numb or even pretend alive, giving you a rush of something that just really kills yourself off from your deepest parts of yourselves. And in this journey, there's like, on this journey of our life, we can fall off. We can be thrown off the path of finding the princess, either from the apple or from the wine. The apple is because of the complexity of our desires that we come across. I need this to be happy. I need this to be happy. I need this to be happy. Until I figure out how to go after these things and incorporate them into my life in a matukan way. Because we're meant to enjoy life. We're not meant to cut out steak and chocolates. Okay, we're not meant to, but there's a way to do it and there's a way to do it, right? And relationships is good, and marital relationships are good, and all kinds of things. It's all good. Don't cut it out. But again, you gotta bring it in. And the wine brings us into, if the apple is bringing us into an awareness of how complex we are as people and our personalities, then the wine is a different thing of cutting ourselves off from our heart. It's the numbing. It's like I'm living without a heart. I've given over my heart to the wine. Now my wine is my heart. It's leading the way. Whatever it is. It's like, it could be people who have, let's say, a fear of authority. Will give all of their autonomy to a person in an authoritative position, even when their gut's saying you shouldn't be following them. They're not the best people to follow, but like, you're into appeasing and satisfying people, and you're kind of afraid of authority. So you're gaslighted into, you've allowed yourself to be lied to, that person is really a good person, or this job is really a good job, because it gives honor and status. This is the wine.
Can you explain gaslighting? I don't think I really get it.
She can explain.
Like,
No, do it now, because maybe everyone.
sympathetic.
Okay, it came up in the class. Okay, did you bring the Alfred Hitchcock movie? Is it Alfred Hitchcock?
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Rebecca.
Rebecca,
It's a
bro.
movie by Alfred Hitchcock, and her husband tried to make her think that she was crazy, and she said, I left the light on, and he would say, no, the light was never on. So that's gaslighting, because he wanted to drive her nuts.
Okay, so this world is always telling us things as if it's something, but it's really nothing, and we fall for it all the time. And now, so it's good to know this, so that we can be aware and not fall for them. We become aware that it's not something that we can fall for. We have to fall for it, and then it's only then that we discover that it's, and it's with the practice of falling for it enough times that we say, I really got to listen to my gut better. I have a heart, and I have a gut. I have a gut that's even lower than my heart, that speaks to me, because my heart can be confused. But the lower it is, Chazal speak about this. Like, there's a pasuk called Mitoratcha me'ai beten. When we'll speak about the dma'ot, because dma'ot, the tears, is coming from, is from the shon me'ain, the intestines. It's actually coming from a deep place. We'll get to that more, but okay. So the apples of our life, like, we can get too intoxicated with their smells and their scents and their sights. And it's like, it's a desire that wakes up within us and we feel like we just gotta have. And the next thing is this wine it's about something in your face is telling you, I'm a spring of water, but everything about it is saying, you're red and you're full of wine and you smell like wine. But it's saying, I'm a spring of water. You can drink me. It's okay. Like to listen to your own inner logic. And we so easily sometimes let go of that because we're gaslighted from this world. We believe in the falsehood of the neon signs and the degrees and the smiles. And what childhood wounds it's sitting on that makes us believe those lies. It's like somebody very mean to you has a voice of somebody from the past that you love very much. Until you realize that this person is not that person, it just has a similar voice, and you're like, but really, he's like, how long could you allow yourself to be abused by this person? Stop just listening to his voice that's reminding you of another person. He's mean. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And in life, we're going to have to go through discovering ourselves in these situations too. Like I thought this person was for me, and everything he does and says, it's like not for me. And then we're in pain over it because he's not for me, but you should be happy that you discover it's not for you. But we hold on. We don't want to let go of it. We fight it. We resist because we want it so much. It's very painful. And so something else about the Yom HaCharon that Rabbi Nachman says here, as long as we don't wake up from this place of no good, the Yetzer Hara leaves us alone. As soon as on the last day, when we wake up, I don't want this anymore. That's the last day. When we wake up, Vatischak leyom hacharon, right? Then all of a sudden, it's gonna the sheker is gonna come with all of its full force of shekerhood, of falsehood, to try to trip you up and say, it's gonna fight you and saying, like the gaslighting, you can't deny me, you want me. And we fall for it. So he comes to the spring, and it's clear that it should have been water there. And he doesn't rely on what his eyes see, what his gut tells him, what his senses even tell him. His sensory system says, no, it's a spring. It should be water, so it must be water. And he actually go like, okay, I'm going to taste it. You saw that it was wine, Why? Why did you do that? And that's it. We have to. So in this part of the story, what Rabbi Nachman is telling us, the instruction here is sim lev, pay attention, know yourself, do hitbodedut, because through hitbodedut, you're going to be less likely to be gaslighted by this world, by people that try to gaslight, by falsehood. You're less likely because you'll be more in touch with yourself. You're going to be mechazek. You're going to strengthen your inner voices. That when falsehood comes to you, you'll already know the truth within yourself, that you're less likely to fall for it. You'll be less naive. You'll be less vulnerable to be taken advantage of. But if it's in this story, if Rabbi Nachman is telling a story, and it's a universal story of every person, every human being on the world, it means that there's no person that doesn't go through this, that doesn't suffer this in one point or another in their life. And and it's okay But at a certain point, he's telling us the story so we can stop the cycle, that we can be aware of it, and next time not fall for it. Okay. So we have to believe in ourselves. Believe your gut. The problem is that sometimes the falsehood comes with so many rationalizations and convincing arguments that we're the crazy ones, and it's like you should follow it.
That's what I was referring to as not guilty yet, shall.
It's hard. It's very difficult sometimes to identify the sheker there. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what you were saying. Yeah, you have to do a lot of crying. What? Yeah.
I've had like no clarity from so like for me it's
But
like,
you were involved with so much mitzvahs.
well,
Chesed shalemis, mamish. Life and afterlife. I need to go out for coffee with you and like talk to you. You have somebody to talk to? Do you share this?
that's part of it.
No, we need to go out for like tea.
Yael, I'm going to say something very unpopular right now,
Okay.
which I think that we are being lulled into believing that we are winning this war against Hamas and Hezbollah. But in my heart, I know, and I've always said, if we had a leadership that was Shomer, Mitzvah, and Torah, we wouldn't be told we're winning the war 14 months after the war.
Right.
All the Mefunim, all the horrors, and we're being told that Netanyahu is so great.
But there's no one coming to replace him. Who else other than Netanyahu is there? But who else is offering their services to take over?
There are lots of people. I don't know.
But they're not putting themselves over to be voted in.
We're not talking. I'm just talking about the shekel.
Okay.
About the point.
Okay.
Not only in relationships, in relation to Eretz Israel.
Okay. Yeah. It's on all levels. Okay.
Yeah.
Accepted. Valid point.
Yeah.
Valid point.
Very germane.
Very, except that,
What's going on?
there's no one really stepping up on that level to say.
There are lots of people that.
But they're not coming. I don't hear them. I don't hear them.
I can tell you names. You know, people that are working very, very hard.
Okay.
Like Jonathan Pollard.
Okay.
Okay, just examples. Daniela Weiss. You know, lots of people.
Okay, so we'll have to wait for
point.
Elections.
But that's that's political.
That's why I didn't want to make it. I'm just saying that we're being lulled into.
It's not chutza ma'aseh. If it's, yeah, of course. There's a lot. Okay. Right. Okay. We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there because really, despite all the things that you've said, and I understand where you're coming from, we're not going to know until we have hindsight. And we're not in the hindsight stage yet. We don't know.
Something different. We're being told that we're winning. That's what my
focus. Okay, fine. There's winning and there's winning. Okay, I'm not going to go there. Let's just.
No, just.
Okay, good.
Wanted to make that.
Okay, so how do we deal with the gaslighting? It's just to fortify inner yitzivut. How do you say yitzivut? Stability. Inner certainty, and the way to do that is by, okay, I'm going to throw it out there. How are we supposed to be mechazek, strengthen the inner voice of certainty, that the next time someone comes to lie to us, or the world wants to come to lie to us, we'll say sheker. What?
I want to know the answer.
We're human beings living, we have enough many years of collected experience. I think Rabbi Nachman says learn Torah.
I was going to say learn Torah.
Learn Torah and learn more Torah constantly,
There's
And-
something else.
And
There's
and
something
and
else.
dive into Hashem and cry out that the falsehood and the sheker of this world should not get the better of you, and you should strengthen your gut. That's Ruach HaKodesh. Like to get to a place of and doing the introspection and always davening to be in light of emes, and the strength of what it takes to have the courage to stand up to the falsehood and says, "You're wrong. I'm out of here," or whatever it is. Not for me. Whether you have to say it sharply or softly or kindly or not at all, just remove yourself. However it is, whatever the situation is, in a delicate way. You don't want to hurt people. You don't want to start like being hurtful to people. But just like know yourself. Know yourself. What does it mean to know yourself? You can't do it without itbunenut.
I mean, the Rebbe.
Journal.
You need a mashpia. I personally.
Okay, there you go. If I find a good
since
friend to talk to.
I've lost two, I mean, extraordinary people in the States.
Yeah.
We're nifter, so over, many decades, I had people, and now to feel like I have no one, I personally feel like I'm drowning. It's
That
just-
is the fact that somebody, I always thought.
Yeah, it's
That having a mashpia is very
Lifesaver.
important.
What did you say?
Rabbi Nachman
I
calls it
thought that
sichat
having a
chaverim.
mashpia is
Mashpia.
very
Mashpia is
It's somebody that is
a mentor. A mentor. You need it. You're someone
My
you can
mother,
trust.
Zichronah Livracha, always said, just find a role model.
Yeah. Someone that
My
you
mother
can
always said
trust.
that.
Someone that you can receive from
It's
them.
very hard to find.
But-
somebody that's
But someone you can receive from them that will allow you still to be who you are.
Right, true.
No, the Rebbe always, I mean, it could have been, like you said, a good friend who listens, doesn't need to be like a
Right.
teacher, rabbi, it's not
Right.
meant to be
It's a
like.
sichat chaverim, like a real chaver.
Sichat chaverim.
Yeah, that's
Who
what Rabbi
has your
Nachman said.
best interest at heart, who hears you, who
Yeah.
knows you,
Yeah.
gets to know you over a long time.
Yeah. Rabbi Nachman
Never
says you should
often.
have 3 daily conversations with Hashem, with the rabbi, and with sichat chaverim.
Nice.
Every
Wow.
day.
Well,
Wow.
take it, every day, like 70 years or 70 years, like whatever, every day. Once a week, once a month. As long as you have it.
This is a conversation though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
This is it.
Well,
Yeah.
Totally. What we do at Sheva, all my
what's the
classes, this is it.
Sichat chaverim.
Sichat- What we're doing now is sichat chaverim.
So that's very important. Yeah. Your
So
sacred space.
yeah, to find someone that you can have a
Yeah,
sacred space
sacred
that you can
space.
say anything to, and you're safe to say it, and you don't.
Yeah, sacred
You're
space
not
is very
afraid
important.
to expose your vulnerabilities, and it's safe, and that will help you strengthen
Sacred
yourself.
space is very important.
It's very important. You could have a support group.
Support group is very important. Yeah.
Support group. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
I do a Zoom every week, and
For what?
it's a Rebbitzin, and it's such a sacred space.
That's so good. Good for you.
Wonderful.
that with Neria, awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, Neria does
Yeah,
that a
she
lot.
was lovely,
Yeah.
lovely
Very
lady.
safe, very
Yeah.
safe space.
Yeah, very.
She does it?
She's not here now, someone, you don't know. But
So
She
No,
does a
never mind.
meditation, she is in the States.
she's in the States. She'll come back after Pesach.
Right.
So then
Neria?
so now he's asleep, and she shows up in her
No,
in her carriage, right?
Carriage.
And it's encased.
Covered.
And the Shechina, that means that wherever we are in Galus, wherever then we schlep the Shechina, the Bat Melech within us into Galus, she's always like in a protected place. She goes into a very deep recessed place, and it's hard to find her again, but be sure that she's in a protected place. Yeah. And she recognizes you. And this is a very, very strong point, that the Shechina recognizes us wherever we are, no matter where we find ourselves. The Shekhinah is none other than our own, the holy neshama within us, this nekuda pnimit, and it recognizes us and even in a place where we find ourselves so far away because we drank from this shikar wine. But there's something inside that recognizes us. That's like, you know what that's like? That's like hitting rock bottom. Why is it that sometimes a person has to hit rock bottom before they discover that they have to save their life? That's just saying this because there, she's there in the rock bottom, and it's very touching to know that. How do you say meragesh in English?
It's what you
Very
said,
touching.
Touching, it's very touching. And when he wakes up,
It's humbling. It's not
It's-
touching.
it's humbling. It's also
also
just to know
humbling.
it, as
Just
just
to
reading
know,
the
but it's
story,
humbling.
it's meragesh to know that she's always there. It's like, it's exciting.
It's very
almost.
emotional.
It's emotional. Yeah. And she was shaking him. She was trying. And she shakes
Takes him
him.
to wake him up.
Yeah, she shakes him.
Could not be woken.
And he cannot be woken.
Because he's in his deep sleep.
he's in
still
the-
in that 49th recess.
Yeah.
He's not up there.
And
Yeah.
and so it's another thing we can do to help ourselves not fall into so deep into this type of sleep is to check in with ourselves. Like, how does my body feel now? What's my heart feeling? Check in with yourself of where am I holding with my body? where is it holding tension? What feelings are trapped over there? What inner voices am I hearing within my mind,
The recesses of your
and the
mind.
reason and how is it feeding the emotions? And if you do a daily check-in like that, like, Yael, how you doing? What's going on with you today? That's also, it helps. It's cute, but it's necessary. Like, how's my head doing today? How's my hand, how are my legs doing today? It's important.
Where am I?
Helps. Where am I?
Where am I?
Like Ayeka, but
Ayeka.
you're asking yourself,
So,
where am I?
Where am I?
You weren't here in previous classes, but every time he wakes up, that's the question. Where am I in the world?
Ayeka.
Where am I in the world?
Ayeka is a very deep
Yeah,
word.
Eifani Ba'olam.
Ayeka is very, very deep.
So this will help us not fall into the manipulations. And will strengthen the gut. Strengthen it to the point that if it starts talking to us, we'll respect it more. We won't say nonsense to a healthy part of ourselves that's trying to alert us to danger. And she's crying. She says, "Oh, how many? What does she say there? So many great efforts and toils you tortuously made these many years in order to take me out. And for one day when you could have taken me out, you completely lost." And she's like, and she's crying. She's mamish crying. This gap of where he could be and where he finds himself and where she is in this whole story, lost to him. And so this loss can come from two, according to this story, from two things that can make us lost. It's the complexity of our own personality that we don't learn to live with and incorporate in a healthy way. That's the apple. And then there's this disconnect with our own heart, and that makes us live in a kind of an illusion and not in a real way, because we lost touch with our own heart. And when we're connected with the inner core of the tiferet, let's say, right? The tiferet is that inner emistic point within us to our own heart. Then I can become like awake and truly say that I'm alive and I'm living. And then things become open, and it's and things become more simpler because what?
The more revealed.
More revealed, right? And Bezat Hashem, like this part of the story is telling us we've got to watch out for those things, to stay vigilant. Okay. And every time we go through this, we might fall, but every time we go get into more and more clarity, we'll be able to, Bezat Hashem, identify it more easily. And in a big way, by the princess speaking to him in his coma state, mamish, like it's a coma state. Rabbi Nachman is saying that even when we're in a coma state, the Shekhinah could reach us. That even in a coma state, and I'm not hearing the Shekhinah, but there's a Shekhinah in me speaking. Wake up. And when we wake up, we'll understand that we were asleep, and that's a gift. And she says, I was crying so much for it because there's yesh rachmanut gdola al ze. כי יש רחמנות גדול עליו ועליי שכל כך זמן שאני כאן ואני יכולה לצאת. You know, and she says, but she's crying and she's in a coma and she's crying and says, but there's great rachamim. There's great rachamim, which means that there's great possibility of Hashem doesn't give up on us. There's tremendous rachamim. No one can say, I've gotten to the place beyond return. And that's when she takes off her scarf and cries her tears and writes him a letter, a love letter to him of her tears. And next week we'll see what she writes there. And as she's crying, where do tears come from? It's when do we cry? Like our deepest cry, like a really deep cry. It's from the deepest depths of our heart. And there's a pasuk that says, "Dabru alev Yerushalayim," speak to the heart of Yerushalayim. When you speak to the lev of Yerushalayim, your eyes well up with tears. It's like it's we want to get to that Sion place of Yerushalayim. What? Yeah, call out to her, right. And because the heart has an ability to feel everything, and so the way we live, like we can throw the Shekhinah into Galus a million times a day, but we can rebuild her a million times a day also. A million times a day. We give her so much tsuras and so much grief, but at the same time was also we try and we attempt and we cry to Hashem and please have Rahmanas, because there is Rachamim Gdulim on this. And when we manage to wake up to this too, and he eventually wakes up, there's a deep desire to live and not mess up anymore, until we finally will. The Geula is going to come, and the Bat Melech is going to be not only found but taken out of this place of Galus, and there's going to be a real chibur, real connection, and there's really going to be big simcha and big love exposed and expressed over there. Something that all of us want very, very much, but it's fragile. Okay. Rabbi Nachman is telling us it's fragile. So what is this? Like she takes off her scarf and she writes on it with her tears and she leaves it by his side and then she goes away. And so this mitpachat with the tears, this is the antidote to the gaslighting of the world. not to fall for the falsehood of the world. The antidote to the wine of this world, of the sheker, of the falsehood, and the lack of believing in ourselves, and to go for falsehood, and even some voice in us says, it's a false smile. He's smiling at you, but he's not really smiling at you. He's manipulative. And to be wise to that, what can save us from the manipulations is the tears. Is actually the tears. It's the tears that can expose the falsehood in establishment, in even in science, all levels of life that come to try to sell us a bag of lies, okay? Or individuals that, or somebody that says, you know what you want, but somebody says, I know what you want better than what you want, and not to fall for it. And these are tears, and it's tears. The Bat Melech is crying the tears, but we can reach, another way of reaching the Bat Melech is if we bring ourselves to feel so heartbroken for the human condition that we so want the Bat Melech and we can't find her, that we mamish cry our eyes out about it. We cry our eyes out. And the ma'ot is like the wine, the water was like from the Mayan. It's the spring, but the Mayan has in it, it's the same shosh as Dmaot, because our eyes are like Mayan that water comes out from. That's the tears. The eye of the spring. Springs look like, have a shape of an eye, like that's the shape of an eye on the ground, and it brings out waters. And so when we cry with the Mayan, so that our tears, when we bring our heart in heartfelt prayer and cry like the Shekhinah cried for herself and for us, if we manage to bring ourselves to that place, then that will be the antidote to the false Mayan. That just looks like a spring of water, but it's really wine. It's the Zohar Kaddish that brings the connection between the Mayan and the Dmaot. Also, the Zohar Kaddish brings a connection between Dmaot, tears, and Ma'ot, which is money. Dmaot de Ma'ot. Because tears have a way of moving us from one emotional state to another emotional state, because it brings with it clarity. It's like the Rabbi Nachman speaks about the rainstorms, that after a rainstorm, there's like a calm that comes over the earth. You've been in a big rainstorm, and then the earth is like so peaceful, and then the sun comes shining through, and it's like when we cry, Rabbi Nachman speaks about this. It's like it brings with it clarity. When you're crying, you're blurry, but it actually washes away that which is not clear, and then you're left with clear vision. And how does the Zohar Kaddish relate the ma'ot to money? Because ma'ot is also something that gets transferred from here to there, from my hand to your hand. So it brings about a transformation, a transference of things. It's kind of a trippy thing. Okay.
What about the soldiers?
And also, okay, so let's see about the soldiers.
And also, I just wanted to mention, scientifically, but the when you cry, it also has something to do with the endorphins in your
endorphins are good
brain,
things, no?
and everything together. When you cry,
It relaxes the body.
Everything.
It relaxes.
Something about it that really.
If it's a real
after you
heartfelt,
cry,
if it's a
it
real
really
heartfelt
helps
coming from a
lot.
very deep place.
After you cry, you feel that release.
It's a bracha to be able to cry such
Right.
brachas,
That's what it is.
such a
And
cry.
scientifically as well. That's what
because
they
it
say.
comes from
I heard that.
Beautiful.
Because tears come from a gland.
Yeah, something like that. But when
That's
you
scientific, but it's
cry,
emotion.
you cry, you really feel better.
You do feel.
Together.
Okay.
Feeling?
No.
So there's actually a pasuk in Tehillim, Perek Mem,
Exhausted after moving.
Yeah, but something is
then there's-
relieved.
but it's exhausting, but you're relaxed.
But you really-
It's a relaxation.
Heavy rain, certain exhaustion, but everything
Clears up.
stuff is also good, and feels so crystal clear. And I think that's true.
But it's-
So there's a pasuk in Tehillim, Perek Mem, pasuk Tet. You can look it up.
Which parak what?
Perek Mem, pasuk Tet, that says Toratcha betoch me'ai. That your Torah is within,
Inside.
Toratcha betoch me'ai. This is a
Mem
very,
ayin yud?
me'ai.
Mem
Mem ayin yud yud. Within my innards, like
in
my
your
intestines.
inside, your intestine.
That's just the
Me'ayin
me'ayin, me'ayin.
is your intestine.
Yeah. So this is a very, very deep place. And this is, and the ma'ot,
That's also
the our
very
ma'ot is related to the me'ayin, to the mayan, which is actually in our gut.
It's our gut.
So it's the inner voice from a very deep place. That's even deeper than the heart, actually, because it's slower than the heart. So it's coming from a more primal place.
Primal.
Trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
And so next week we'll read more about like what this mitpachat and what she wrote on the mitpachat. But let's talk about, you wanted to learn about, talk about the soldiers. So let's go back to the story. Yeah, let's try, because I don't see any in my, I thought I had it in my notes, so I was waiting for it to come up in my notes, but I see. On the last day he was going there, and he saw a running spring, and its color was red, and the smell was of wine. He asked the servant, "Have you seen? This is a spring, and there ought to be water in it, but its color is red, and the smell of wine." And he went and tasted from the spring. He immediately fell down and slept many years, until 70 years. There were many troops going along with their trains that followed behind them, and the servant hid himself because of the soldiers. I think what this means is that the troops are the ones that are keeping you in your drunken state. There's forces. The drunken state is anything that you fall into, anything that's gaslighting you, and the falsehood that you fell for, okay? And there are many troops along the way, going along the way. So with their trains that follow behind them, and the servant hid himself because of the soldiers. So any healthy part of ourselves that could have maybe helped me, woken me up to it, it's too many other forces. Once you're into it, you're like you've lost it. You're sleeping for 7 years, and she's even tried to wake you up. She came and she nudged you, and she's shaking you, and you couldn't even wake up. And right after that, that's when the carriage came. So that's for this week.
So nobody can wake them up? What was that?
Not yet. You have to come back next week. He ends up waking up next week. He ends up waking
What's
up.
with the soldiers? What did you say about the soldiers?
The soldiers, I think they represent the supporting actors to the wine, to the gaslighting that keeps you in your gaslighted
Waking
state.
you up, but you can't wake up.
Yeah, so it's
So you're still sleeping.
you're sleeping. You're functioning. You're in this world, but you're sleep. You're completely.
Other people surround you that have the same.
You're still in
Could
your
be,
slumber.
yeah. You're a smoker, and you surround yourself with smokers. Go figure. Go try to quit smoking when you're surrounded by smokers, type of thing.
Thank you.
Wow.
Spoiler alert, because you know he ends up finding her. He ends up finding her.
He does find it?
He does find her. And Rabbi Nachman doesn't say how she tells him, you're gonna now. What's going to be written now, like you've lost it. Now it's going to be even harder, but now you're only going to find me. You have to find, I will be in a golden, on a golden mountain in a castle of pearls.
Golden
הר של
mountain?
זהב ומבצר של
What is it?
מרגליות.
How to have.
הר של זהב ומבצר של מרגליות.
Wow. I
And
love pearls.
and it's going to be, this is only lesson 5, there's 8 lessons, so it's until we get to that last chapter of finding the mountain, we have a few more things to go through, but he ends up finding that castle. It's a very crazy place to, like, where are you going to find a golden mountain with them, and what does that even mean? But he finds it, and she's there, and Rabbi Nachman ends the story is, and how he took her out, he doesn't say, because that's person's story. That's personal.
So after 70
Individual.
years, a person can be dead and then can come alive at the end of their life.
Yeah, it's sleepwalking. It's not really dead. It's not unconsciousness.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Spiritually dead.
and spiritually dead, absolutely. And some
Absolutely.
people die like that, then they come back as a Gilgul, and a few
really?
Gilgulim. The Zohar Kaddish, I just
Wow.
finished. I just read like 2 days ago. Also, I have it here somewhere. I won't be able to find it easily. But don't worry, Hashem has a lot of rachamim. If you don't do it this time, you'll come back, and then you'll come back, and then you'll come back.
Oh my
I
God.
heard there are no new Hashem.
No, yeah, and Rabbi Nachman
We
said,
are the same 600 things.
yeah, and Rabbi Nachman said that he told his Hasidim, I'm telling you something you're probably going to forget, but I'm telling you, try to not forget that after 120 years, you're going to go up to Shemaim, and they're going to give you a choice: Gehenom or come back. Don't come back. Choose Gehenom,
Why?
because coming back is full of danger that you can fail again, and you're going to add injury to insult. You're going to make it. It could be
Better to take Gehenom.
better to take Gehenom because it's a washing machine. It's a cleansing.
Sounds awful.
Better take Gehenom.
That Gehenom has, but people say people see Gehenom and they freak out and they say, no, I don't want.
Yeah, it's like putting it in.
No one's been back to tell us what it's really like.
Perek Shira has a pasuk in
Which one?
Gehenom is a pasuk in Perek Shira, and it's a beautiful pasuk. I forget what it is, but it has tov in it a lot of times. Hold on,
Perek Shiva is very. Do you say it every day?
I don't say it every day, but I taught it. I've taught it.
We learned to.
I taught it pasuk by pasuk.
We've
We
learned it.
taught it. Oh,
Pasuk shel
that's so
Gehinom
beautiful. That they said.
v'Perek Shira.
I feel like your paths cross.
Gehinom אומר, כי השביע נפש שוקקה ונפש רעבה מילא טוב. It's an amazing pasuk. He satisfied a yearning soul, and a hungry soul he filled with good. That's what Gehenim says. Because it's a place of cleansing. Okay, thank you so much, Miriam and Shoshana. Take care. Kol Tov.
Wow.
Bye.
Wow.